Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm reviewing and ranking the old Fantastic Four movies. In light of the new one coming out this year, I rewatched the old classics from my childhood and a little additional film.
No! No! No!
I loved the two Fantastic Four movies when I was a kid. I collected the toys, dressed up as the characters, but unlike other childhood staples like say the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, I haven't really rewatched these on a regular basis, and I honestly haven't even seen the 2015 Fantastic Four until now. So have these movies stood the test of time? Well, I guess we'll see. Now, the first one that came out in 2005 really isn't that bad. It's your standard superhero origin story. The heroes get their powers, the villain gets his, and you watch the story flip-flop back and forth as they use their new gifts for different purposes. We start off with Reed and Ben asking Victor to help fund some special sciencey cure the kids in space field trip. Victor rubs his nose in it and flaunts it to his ex-girlfriend Susan. He gives Reed some pretty god-awful terms that Reed just kind of rolls over and takes.
Number 75. And its applications and patents.
What about his firstborn?
You could say he was even being a little too flexible here. We then meet Johnny and get introduced to a prototype of the eventual suits they'll be wearing. And for some reason, when Susan brings the suits in, she seems disappointed that Reed is more interested in the suits than her titties in his face.
Wow. Fantastic. Material made from self-regulating unstable molecules. I've been working on a formula.
But 2 scenes ago, she made it very clear that she wanted nothing to do with him. Alright, Susan, make up your mind already. We move to the space station. Victor tries to propose to Susan by referring to it as a promotion. Quite romantic. And then they get hit by the superpower carrying space storm. And that's where this movie really shows its age in these hilarious running shots of the cast just getting pounded in the face by this CGI space storm. They really don't make them like this anymore. We then get brought back to Earth. The team starts to figure out they have powers. First Johnny, who we see lightly committing sexual harassment beforehand.
Do you want to help me with the zipper?
You know, this is not.
But women loved that back then, so it's cool. He skis down a mountain in the most early 2000s clip in cinema.
Last one down, springs for room service.
Meanwhile, the movie devotes some more time to us trying to believe that Reed and Susan have any type of chemistry whatsoever.
Good.
They always had a way with words.
This sucks!
Their love story is painful to watch. It isn't believable at all. But you know what is believable though? The Reed and Ben bromance.
Hey, 3 days. Man, I was worried about you. How are you feeling?
Solid.
I like how Ben is always looking out for Reed. He always stands up for him, even when he won't stand up for himself. Like a big brother. It's nice, and their scenes together are definitely some of the better parts of the movie. After having dinner with Reed and Susan, Ben's not feeling well, and he goes to bed. He wakes up and sees that he's now a fucking rock monster, and his first thought is, you know who really needs to see this? My girlfriend. Solid plan, my guy. What could go wrong? His girlfriend sees him and is understandably like, what the fuck? You're a rock now. And you're still bald. And then she breaks up with him. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for our first superhero action scene. And you better enjoy it, folks, because you only get 2 of the whole movie. So, buckle up. Ben is having his sad boy moment on the bridge, and somehow no one notices the literal fucking rock monster casually strolling by morning traffic to get here. Then some random guy walks up and happens to be here to kill himself. Ben convinces him not to, but also scares him into walking into the traffic. Ben jumps down to help him, and shoulder checks a fucking semi in the process. That then causes a chain reaction of a 50-car collision that probably kills multiple people and wrecks a truck carrying flammable gas canisters. But conveniently for us, the rest of the Fantastic Four are driving on the same bridge at this very moment. And they do what every New Yorker does in the resulting traffic of a multi-car collision. They get out of their cars and form a circle on the bridge or in the police barricade that magically spawns in 30 seconds after the accident. And even though they haven't fully realized their powers as superheroes or how to control them, they decide the best course of action is to sneak into the resulting collision and help. But they can't because of the cops. So, they have Sue get naked and turn invisible so she can sneak in. But then Johnny and Reed just walk around Like, why did she have to get naked and turn invisible? A cop literally fucking sees them walking past him and doesn't do anything. He just says, fuck it, I ain't got time for that. But meanwhile, Ben is experiencing police brutality firsthand. After saving the semi-truck driver he laid out earlier, he's finding out what it's like to be a brown rock man in America. The rest of the Fantastic Four, for unknown reasons, are now convinced Ben is on the bridge and start calling out for him. But before they get reconnected, the canisters decide to blow up in a massive fireball. A fire truck arriving on scene then performs evasive maneuvers at the impeding fireball, Tokyo drifting through the bridge. The Fantastic Four live up to their name and rescue the firemen from falling into the green screens awaiting below them. We even get to see the first of many famous Susan Storm nosebleeds. But in the end, they, like all superheroes that cause mass casualties then help afterwards, they are hailed as heroes. The best scene in the whole bridge sequence follows right after it. And I don't mean best in some sarcastic, this is so bad it's funny sense. Ben's girlfriend, who we will ignore the fact that she is also on this bridge like everyone else in New York, delivers to him their engagement ring. And it's honestly really sad seeing Ben try to pick it up off the ground. And it's a good analogy for Ben and Reed's relationship as a whole when Reed helps him and puts it in his hand. The scene is almost so good, it distracts me from the fact Ben only has 4 fingers. Now we haven't checked on Victor in a minute, so what's going on with our boy? Well, he's having his very own Green Goblin story arc. He comes back to Earth and gets told to fix his company. He then gets told the stockholders are pulling out in a very similar vein to Norman getting booted out of his company.
Victor, do you know how much money I've invested in this company?
You know how much I sacrificed?
His superpowers start kicking in.
Some kind of organic metallic alloy. Stronger than titanium or carbon steel, harder than diamonds.
Oh my god. He's Iron Man. Then Victor completes his Norman Osborn arc by killing a guy by chokeslam and murdering his business associates. For almost the entirety of the remaining runtime, we follow montages of Reed building a machine to reverse their powers. During that time, we see some cool scenes of the team using their powers in everyday life. Each of them is growing attached to their powers in their own special way. Those scenes are fun, and I don't mind them. And we get a surprisingly much better chemistry and written romance between Ben and his new blind love interest, Alicia. They meet in a sweet scene where she buys him a drink. It's not even the greatest romance, but after the dry-ass shit Reed and Susan are serving up, people eat this up all day. Ben stays out after meeting Alicia and goes to a diner. Victor comes to the diner because he has to get rid of Ben to take out the rest of the team. Victor apparently has a live location for where the entire team is and tells Ben Reed isn't working hard enough on the machine because he's spending all his time with Susan. Which just isn't true. Almost half this movie feels like it's been dedicated to Reed building this damn machine. Ben, you live in the same house as Reed. You see him working on the machine. You hate Victor. Why would you believe him? Reed, of course, at this time, is on a date with Susan. But in this awkward romantic scene, the character arc of Reed finally learning not to be cucked by Victor is complete. Like, bro really brings up in every scene how bigger, better, and stronger my man Victor is.
A good thing with Victor. He's smart, he's powerful, he's successful.
Well, maybe you should date him then.
I'm really happy for you and Victor.
You know, a girl can grow old waiting around for you to take charge.
Well, we can't all be as bold
This
as...
who? Victor?
Ben is waiting for them when they return to the lab, which is when this super fake line delivery of Susan laughing at a made-up story occurs.
Wow, I had no idea.
It's true.
Ben is pissed because Reed took a break to go out with Susan, and they get into a fight. Boom, now the team's broken up. Now Reed tries to use the machine and ends up turning himself into Mr. Goop Man. He gets dragged off by Susan, and Victor uses this as the right time to bring Ben back to the Baxter building and uses extra lightning power to fix him in the same machine. Now it's finally time for the second of our 2 action scenes. We now have Ben, a mortal man again, and he gets bitch slapped across the room. Reed is summoned in by the plot into the scene. He gets Palpatined outside where he drips down. And then Victor's true villain moment occurs.
Are you okay?
Never better, Jimmy.
I can take you killing the business dudes, or zapping Reed with lightning bolts, but nobody does this to Jimmy. Nobody. Unforgivable. He takes Reed to his lair, and you just saw him previously pulling his long-ass body off the building. Did you drag him 20 blocks to your house? Did you have to call a cab? How the fuck did you get his stretchy body over here? Reed's held in this ice state so Doom can torture and kill him, And I don't mind it, but it's definitely a very cheesy set piece of Dr. Doom monologuing over a frozen reed, where only his eyes can move. About this time, things start to really pick up. We see Doom shoot a missile at Johnny. No issues there. Susan sneaks over to rescue Reed and starts fighting Doom. No issues there. But we see in the midst of this, Ben is using the machine again. Cool. It's ultimately to set up his return as the Thing. But not one fucking minute later does this motherfucker Kool-Aid Man himself through the goddamn wall to save Susan.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
You're telling me this man transformed himself into an 800-pound rock monster, climbed down the stairs from the penthouse over 100 floors to the bottom of this building because the movie already established he can't take the elevator, then magically teleported his ass to this building in order to go through the room next door to shoot himself through the wall. Respect, movie. Respect.
Gonna go for a new track record.
Now that is honestly my last real nitpick with this movie. I actually enjoy the climax. It's not some crazy over-the-top battle, but it works. I like the hallway water fight scene with Ben and Doom. I think that's pretty cool. And I like the fact that the team has to come together using all their powers to defeat him. That's why you have superhero teams, so they can pull together like this to defeat their villain. My only complaint with any of this really is I just wish there was more. A little bit longer would have been nice, or a scene where it's just Johnny and Doom fighting one-on-one. But otherwise, no real big issue. It's very Phantom Menace in the sense where you have a pretty lackluster movie for the most part that culminates in a really cool final battle. The movie finally ends with superheroes celebrating like we know all superheroes do after killing their arch nemesis on a riverboat cruise. The credits roll and the crew tells of one more too long dog-ass romantic scene between Susan and Reed where he proposes, of course. Now it's time for Silver Surfer. We open with a fart form of Galactus at snack time, followed by the Silver Surfer zipping across the galaxy and causing havoc on Earth. I honestly don't really judge these movies against their comic book counterparts, because I'm just not that experienced with the source material, but Galactus being a sentient evil weather pattern was definitely a choice. Then we find our beloved heroes. Are they fighting some old foe, some new villain? Does the movie suck us in with a cool action scene, deciding to grab our attention and not let us go? Nope. They're at the airport, and they have to fly coach. Riveting. What better way to ground your superpowered characters than have them suffer the indignity of sitting with us peasants outside of first class?
I'll talk to you guys later.
Johnny, where are you going?
I don't fly coach.
And the last movie's probably weakest aspect was the Susan Reed will they won't they subplot. This movie realizes that, of course, and decides to make the entire film revolve around their wedding. Fantastic. Susan is allergic to an exciting story arc, so instead of letting Reed, be a superhero, she spends the entire movie upset he won't devote every second of his time to their wedding. And listen, Susan, your wedding and your love life are important, but natural disasters are occurring across the globe. Maybe give Reed a smidge of room to help save some people's lives. But anyway, Johnny convinces Reed to go out for a bachelor party. Reed spends the time dancing and explaining the Big Bang to girls at the club. Then Susan walks in, escorting a general and his staff who have to see Reed at this very moment. And she's pissed that he's dancing with some of the girls.
Unless you need to do jello shots off someone's stomach.
And it wouldn't annoy me, but 2 scenes later, she says at her bachelorette party, it was way wilder.
Besides, it was nothing compared to what I did at my bachelorette party.
Why are you being manipulative and hypocritical then? Why does this movie want us to not like the main female lead? Anyway, whatever. The general comes in and explains that there are these huge big holes showing up on the Earth. Why is the Silver Surfer making big holes? Does it help Galactus stick his cloud tentacles into planets? Or does he need to drain certain resources out before Galactus comes? You think the movie would eventually explain the purpose for this huge conflict? But it never does, so don't hold your breath. And this scene contains a triumphant moment where Reed decides to not help the general with his science machine.
You see, I'm getting married this Saturday. I just don't have the time.
But then he does end up helping anyway, building the machine in secret behind Sue's back. This movie really wants us to believe that the superheroes have it so hard balancing their everyday lives with being superheroes. Like that's all you do is superhero shit. Just do your wedding and the science thing at the same time. The only thing I hate more, actually, is when we finally arrive at the wedding day, one of the first scenes we see is some jackass telling Stanley he's not on the list. Stan Lee is on any goddamn list he pleases to be on. Like I said, it's a big wedding day. There isn't really anything interesting, intriguing, or special going on in these scenes before Susan walks down the aisle. A little beforehand, Susan is contemplating whether it's the right time to get married, and she says,
Do we really want to raise kids in all this?
"And all of what? You guys have fought like one guy your entire career as superheroes. What is so dangerous about your life? Reed is basically a full-time scientist and a superhero 1 week in a month. It's like he's in the National Guard. The Fantastic Four are more like first responders than vigilantes or crime fighters." We then get a scene to show us what a halfway decent romance actually looks like, and it's crazy because Ben's actor is wearing a literal rock suit and Kerry Washington is playing a blind woman, yet somehow these two have more believable romance than Reed and Susan do.
Oh!
Don't do that. Okay, you're perfect.
You're perfect.
Johnny makes an inappropriate joke regarding Ben and Alicia's love life, inquiring on how they have sex. And it's kind of funny, because he says he doesn't want to see her die in a rock slide, but I'm genuinely curious, what is the canonical way that works? I'm sure somebody out there wrote a comic book to answer that question. Soon after, we get a somewhat tender scene with Alicia telling Johnny he might actually be jealous of her and Ben's intimacy.
I don't know. I think it bothers you to see him really happy and in love. I think you're jealous.
The writing isn't even like phenomenal or anything, but Kerry Washington actually gives a fuck about acting, which is a departure from the usual cast. The wedding begins, and all is going well till Reed's phone starts going off with notifications from his science machine. The Silver Surfer crashes the wedding, and we finally get our first action scene 30 minutes in. I say crashes, but he does more of a drive-by, which causes a helicopter to fall out the sky. Susan catches it, Hulk smashes it, and the big day is ruined before they say I do. Johnny, meanwhile, chases off our wedding day intruder, and I don't actually mind this scene. I woke up from the lacklusterness the last half hour of this film has shown me to a decent little chase scene. The first time we see the Silver Surfer is kind of cool. The chase is just fun, I like it. The ending shows him being pretty badass, catching Johnny by the throat and throwing him into space. Something that's also been cut in between these scenes, and I have yet to mention, Victor's back. The Silver Surfer flying by happens to unfreeze him from his previous state. He kind of looks like Robert Bruce's dad from Braveheart. Then he tries to convince the Silver Surfer to help him take over the world. The Silver Surfer tells him to fuck off, zip zap from him, and he's back to normal. We don't know why the Silver Surfer's powers affect him in this way, and we never find out. So, another secret the movie keeps from us. After his encounter with the Silver Surfer, Johnny can now switch his power with other people, and it's funny seeing Ben being the irresponsible one for a change, and Johnny pressuring for caution.
Come on! We just said this is serious!
Oh, yeah.
I like that the tables turn on him and he feels what it's like to be Ben for a change. It's actually good. I wish the movie had more scenes like this. Reed then uses the quadratic formula or something to find out where the Silver Surfer will strike next. The Silver Surfer doesn't believe London is ugly enough, so he flies into the river and drills a hole straight through. The Fantastic Four, on the other hand, are trying to save this giant Ferris wheel thing from falling over, and the movie shows them working as a team. Ben shoulder pressing it in the air, Reed is weaved through the top to provide support, but Johnny almost fucks everything up, but the team ends up welding the thing back together. I do like in the end of the London sequence, the Londoners aren't even fazed by the water being gone, they're just driving along. And right after that, we see that Captain Holt is pissed about this whole thing. So the General's great idea is to bring in surprise special guest, Victor Von Doom. So the superheroes aren't working, how about the murdering psychopath who was seen in the middle of New York, throwing jimmies through windows, and fighting the team who was helping you? Yeah, Victor's back and free in society. Like, at least put bro in some handcuffs. Is there some in-story reason that no one fucking cares? They just let you come back from exile imprisonment because you have an iPod Touch video? Also, where was the camera during this? You had a camera on a tripod somewhere off screen, and you just knew this was going to be crucial footage? From the footage, they decide they need to separate the Silver Surfer from his board. And they set up this huge trap with a bunch of sensors. They catch him and drag him into like fucking Abu Ghraib, where some German scientist starts torturing him. And there isn't really anything going on here besides the torture. Victor steals the board and the team realizes that torturing maybe isn't the best option. Let's go talk to him. They begin to break him out. At the same time, Victor steals the board and starts murking soldier NPCs left and right, with this one particular brutal death of the General. And honestly, I don't really like this heavy military base subplot and all the time we spend here, but guess what? It's over, and I'll never have to watch Dr. Doom murdering people through a secret military base ever again. Wait, what? God damn it.
No. Wait. Wait.
Alright, anyway, so the team calls in the Fantastic Four mobile to transport him to the final battle. Hell yeah, we finally get to see him fight Doctor Doom and Galactus. I'm so excited! But one thing I do find a bit funny is earlier, we're showing Johnny wearing a suit with all these different ad symbols on him, and it's kind of like a commentary maybe of like the oversaturation of ads in media. Cool.
What do you have against capitalism?
But this same movie makes the Fantastic Four signature car have Dodge fucking logos cover the entire thing. It's on the front emblem, it's on the hood, it's on every seat cover. Did Dodge make this fucking thing, Reed? You made it seem like this was some back of the lab science project. Did you order it? I digress though. The team catches up to Victor, who ambushes them, and they crash into some city. Aw shit. Now it's time for a rematch. Epic showdown. Doctor Doom versus the Fantastic Four, and he's stronger than ever. Who's gonna win? Never mind. Susan just got a spear through her fucking chest. Okay, well, how will the team respond to this new adversity? Reed's just gonna sit here the rest of the movie, and everyone's just gonna give their powers to Johnny to figure it out. Ah, nice. I would hate to replicate the best part of the last movie. And so Johnny, with the strength of the entire team in him, takes on Doctor Doom by himself. He's punching, he's kicking, he's using every bit of strength to contain Doctor Doom and get him off his board. But there's one superpower Johnny didn't get transferred to him, and that's Ben's ability to fucking teleport. Yeah, they show Ben trying to get into the fight, and he's at the base of this like mile-high crane meant to build skyscrapers. But that's no problem for old Benny. Exactly 27 seconds later, and I counted that shit, this fucker is in that bitch like the Michael Jordan of crane claw machine operators. And he smacks good old Doctor Doom into the fucking ocean. And I guess he's too heavy to swim? That's where the movie draws the line of realism. He's made of metal, so obviously he can't swim. Sure, whatever. Alright, but there's still Galactus. We still get to see them fight Galactus. Oh, never mind. Silver Surfer's just gonna fly into him and glow, I guess. Bro, if you were living a life of a slave, committing planetary genocide, with no hope of returning to your wife anyway, why does it take you however many fucking years to realize you can just kill him yourself? You need to meet Susan Storm before you realize maybe it was time to sacrifice yourself to stop this? The movie ends with another wedding scene. They decide to do a small gathering in Japan. Did you just hire a bunch of random Asian people to stand around at your wedding, or did you invite only your Asian friends? Whatever. It's the end of it. Fantastic Four, Rise of Silver Surfer, sponsored by Dodge, of course. Now it's time for Fan for Stick. This movie is a lot of things. Superhero movie, it is not though. It was my first time watching it, and it's not like the worst thing put on film, like all the scenes are in the correct order. And honestly, the cast is doing a better job acting in most scenes than the other cast was.
Wow, I had no idea.
It's true.
What does bother me is the way this movie looks and feels. This is some Zack Snyder, bleak as fuck, dark as hell, sad vibes superhero movie. It contains a plot that doesn't need the Fantastic Four to be in it. It could just be a random sci-fi movie about everyday scientists getting supernatural abilities and then getting fielded as battlefield soldiers. The first scene where it's apparent that this movie is going to be a darker version of the Fantastic Four story is that Ben gains his iconic catchphrase from childhood trauma.
Hey, Plopper inside. What'd you think?
I don't know what the that was.
The first half of this movie, and I mean 45 minutes out of 90, we are just watching Reed build this teleportation machine. That is way too long to set up an origin story. They are spending their entire time in this movie in a lab or in a military base. And that's what I mean when I say this isn't a superhero movie. We don't see our superheroes doing heroic shit. They don't save anyone until the end of the movie, and it's because they have to save the fucking Earth. So they're just in a lab, or a military base, or they're saving the Earth. That's it. Those are the three parts of the movie. But hey, on the bright side, at least the movie isn't gonna pander out to us another lackluster, half-baked Sue Reed romance. Right?
Adopt you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
You were adopted?
No, I just wish that I was.
Huh?
Who the fuck says shit like that, Reed? You just bring up her adoption so you can flex that you have parental trauma? 10 out of 10 romance. Next scene. So Reed, Victor, and Johnny all get drunk one night around the halftime part of the movie and decide, hey, let's use a teleportation device because fuck it. Do they invite the other person that helped make the machine? Nope. Reed invites his old buddy from school, Ben. So the four of them travel to another dimension. The planet they're on starts exploding, and Victor gets pulled in by the Nickelodeon slime monster. The rest of the team starts escaping, and they all get their powers from whatever is happening to them. Johnny's burning alive, Ben is getting buried alive, and Reed's getting stretched alive. It's now time for the part of the movie where the superheroes finally have their powers. And it's shot like a fucking horror movie. Reed watches what looks like Johnny burning alive in front of him, and is screaming at his disfigured legs crushed under rubble. Not the most uplifting movie. And now we're in the second half of the movie. The rest of the movie is spent in this secret government facility where they're testing our heroes' capabilities to be used as weapons. Fun. Reed runs away from Azkaban, and Ben gets pissed and becomes a super soldier. And that's really it. Ben spends a year flipping tanks. I hate everything about this. The movie looks bleak and depressing and feels that way. They end up recapturing Reed, and then right as they do, they send a different team back through the teleportation gate. And Victor Von Doom is still alive! Holy shit! And he looks like shit. My two biggest costume complaints. Ben is a dickless naked rock the entire movie, and no one finds it awkward besides me. And Dr. Doom is a robo-voodoo doll.
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all.
And now he's pissed off. Not that he was left on the planet, but that people came back to it. Victor kills Sue and Johnny's dad, the team follows him to the other planet, and through the power of teamwork, they are able to kill him. Beautiful. That's the movie. That's it. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time. But hey, at least in this one, Ben has 5 fingers. Alright, so I said I was going to rank these movies as well. I made a tier list where I'm going to put all the superhero movies that I watch. Starting on with Fantastic Four 1, it's just your average superhero flick. Moving on to Silver Surfer. This movie is bad, and whoever made it should feel bad. And lastly, Fan for Stick. The pit of superhero movie despair. I'll add more superhero movies to this tier list as I get to them. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who watched this. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you want me to review next. Bye.